Joining me now in the studio, our international affairs editor, Armen Georgian. Armen, you were following that speech by the French president. It's the first time he's, interview. It's the first time he's given an interview on Bastille Day since becoming president. And he said that this was important at a time when the country's traumatized. Tell us more about what came out of that interview.
Yeah, so this was an interview with two journalists. It's a format that he hasn't done up until now. He sort of used to consider this to be a kind of very old-fashioned thing to do on July the 14th, the French National Day celebrations. But as he explained in this interview with the journalist today, is July the 14th unlike any other because France, of course, has lost an estimated 30,000 people to coronavirus, and of course many other lives have been upended with long-term health effects, those who've been affected. And of course we know that the virus is continuing to circulate in France. I think there were nearly 300 cases recorded yesterday, which was down on the previous day. So essentially this was an opportunity, I think, for Macron to say to people, don't let your guard down. He said that masks would be made compulsory in closed public spaces. So what that means is that now, in the future, when you go shopping in France, you will have to wear a mask. At the moment, you only have to wear it in public transport. So as far as enclosed public spaces go, public transport is the only place that it's actually mandatory at the moment. So that's going to be expanded. I think he sort of acknowledged that there's no fail-safe measure that will cover everything because, as we all know from walking around French cities, Claire, bars are heaving. You've got outside places which may be outside, but still they're overcrowded. There are far too many people sitting around the same table. So, you've got bars that are not actually forcing social distancing and people also not doing it. So that's still a problem, but there's always going to be some kind of weakness in the system, whatever you do. So he's just trying to close an extra gap there, in a sense, by saying masks will be made compulsory. He also talked about what would happen if there was a second wave. He's adamant that there will not be a general lockdown, even if there is a second wave in the next few months. He wants to make sure that there will be a kind of differentiated approach where you might have a local lockdown, but even that may be avoidable with other measures, including masks and social distancing. So he's trying to avoid a general lockdown. I think he really sees that would be disastrous for French society and from the French economy. On the French economy, he also talked about the figures from the National Institute of Statistics and other entities which have said there would be nearly 1 million unemployed people in France by the spring of next year. So by the spring of 2021, he said that he thinks that is a realistic figure. He didn't really say exactly what could be done about that. It was essentially, I think, a message of brace yourself. This is going to happen. It's unavoidable. There is going to be massive, massive upheaval. 1 million, nearly 1 million more unemployed people. He simply defended France's record compared to other countries, where he said that in France, partial unemployment, or short-time working, as it's called, was something that was deployed in the crisis to prevent massive layoffs due to COVID-19. So as we know, about 40% of French employees have been on this short-term working system, but that doesn't ultimately avoid the fact that there will be massive layoffs in the next few months.
All right, thank you very much, Armen. Now, that interview came after a small